And Dan Shaughnessy is the one who wrote this over the weekend in the Globe. It appears that sources close to the Celtics situation are telling him that it is Wyc's father, Irving Grousbeck, who is driving the sale of their shares in the Celtics for estate reasons. Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting last week. I think the news was shocking after the Celtics won it all. And the question was essentially, why would Wyc do this to us? It seems like it's really being driven by his father. Dan Shaughnessy wrote that he had reached out to Wyc and he reached out to Wyc's father, who had a polite no comment. And then he texted Wyc and said, "Are you okay if I say your personal stake in the team is less than 2%? And Wyc's answer was, "We hold as a family, all unified. We are a family, and I also have a Celtics family," is my comment. Thanks. So he didn't deny that. I mean, it's been since they bought that team, which was in 2002, I believe. Mm-hmm. There have been, I think most have suspected that it was the dad's money, the family money that was kind of driving things. Mm-hmm. But your question is about whether Wyc remains in some way, shape, or form as a governor or as a managing partner going forward, maybe, because he's not the one who wants to sell.
Well, yeah. Well, first off, my apologize to Wyc, because I'm like, why would you want to do it? And now you start to see this, and I got to be thinking he's sitting there going, I don't want to sell this team. I think he has a passion for the team. Obviously, we know he's a fan of the team. And when he said there's many more to come, he
wasn't being disingenuous on this show. You don't think?
No, I don't think he was. And I think it was maybe him fighting. And I don't want to mean like
not arguing, but just
like disagreeing with the dad. Like, I want to keep the team. I want to keep the team. But I'm just like, I know he's got to be like, damn.
But isn't the estate planning for Wyc?
Well, it's for Wyc and his siblings.
Okay.
So I think he has, Dan Shaughnessy wrote that he has 4 siblings.
Okay.
Is what Dan Shaughnessy wrote. And they may not want to be involved at all.
Right.
And they don't appear to want to be involved
they just,
at all.
Let's get our money.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's
that's
like,
generally with
but
the
that's
other
what
siblings.
It's like we're saying poor Wyc, but the estate planning is really for him and his siblings. And I understand that. And yes, if Wyc didn't want to sell and his dad did, and there's, every family has things that go on behind the scenes. And I hope that they're all on the same page. Wyc seems to be in a great mood at the white party, so I think everything's all fine. But at the same time, I do not think that this was sprung on Wyc after they won the championship without any prior knowledge.
But see, I disagree that they're not all on the same page. Just based off of what
I said, I hope that they're all on the same page. I still think that he lied to us a month ago when he said the team's not for sale.
I don't think he did.
So you think that after they won, his dad said, we gotta...
Yeah, I think they probably were.
And if that's the case,
going,
then I apologize as well.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, I think they were probably going back and forth on it. Mm-hmm. And so he's one of, I stand corrected because I just looked it up, he's one of 4 children of Irving Grousbeck. Okay. So he has 3 siblings. And so I'm assuming that, and Mr. Grousbeck is in his 90s.
Yep.
The senior. And so I assume that there's going to be estate planning that is done. Well, because that's the way that's the way they do it.
Can you explain to me, just so I'm clear, the 2% thing? So Wyc himself owns 2%?
I'm guessing that's what Dan Shaughnessy is saying.
And the siblings as well probably have some?
I would guess, or the father.
The father probably owns the majority of it. Yeah. Wyc might have the 2%, and maybe the siblings might not even be involved in it. Maybe Wyc put up a little bit of his own money, and the siblings were like, well, we don't really want to get into that, but they're still going to obviously benefit from the dad and the whole estate planning. I think it's more now like when you start to hear these things, and that's why I said my apologize to Wick Grousbeck is I don't think he wants to sell this team, and I think he's probably so when he says those things with Scal, I think he's like, I'm doing everything in my power, fighting or disagreeing or getting my dad to see why we shouldn't sell the team and what, here's why we shouldn't do this and, all those things. And now I look at it where he's probably like, oh, I don't want to do this. And, reluctantly, he just has no power in the say so now. But I'm going to bet you if you, obviously, John, as he talked to him, you got Wick on some truth serum, he'd be like, no, I don't want to sell this team.
So what was your question?
My question was, do you think the PGA golf thing might have spread him too thin, and that's what maybe potentially is forcing the dad to say, you chose to go and invest in the PGA? Because is the dad part of that as well?
No, I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so.
So I guess my question is, did the PGA thing...
Well, yeah, I mean, he could have done that PGA deal with Arthur Blank and John Henry and others without knowing that his father wanted to sell, I would guess.
Okay, all right.
And that would answer the question about why he's not... I don't know why Wick is not putting together a group himself to buy the Celtics,
to buy out his dad,
but maybe because they already did that.
Maybe it's just a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, it is a lot of money.
Know, all right, I'm gonna have to buy him out, but knowing how much, dad's probably like, all right, Wick, I love you, son, but listen, I can't give you the family discount on this one. This team is this asset is just too valuable.
I love new listeners, so I'm not going to critique, but when you say my apologize, people. A new listener would like me to correct you that that's not the way you say that.
Oh, okay.
They don't know. They don't.
New listener, my apologize then. I shouldn't have said it that way. But that's I guess so. Going back on the whole Wick, I tend to now believe him that the team wasn't up for sale. I think that the dad was like, maybe I'm thinking about it. There might a little bit of back and forth, and then maybe when they won the chip, the dad goes, all right, we accomplished everything.
Again, I just don't think a sale this big is figured out in mere weeks. Like, this is...
Well, I'm not saying it was figured out, but I think that there had to be a conversation, and I think Wick might have felt like, oh, don't worry about it to himself. Like, I'm going to get my dad to not sell the team. But then once the dad saw they won the championship, that might have been like, all right, strike while the iron's hot.
Right. Sell
Do you
high.
think, let's say this, and how would I put this? Do you think Wick, or with Robert Kraft, when it's, his time to kind of step away, do you think they sell the team? For estate planning?
I wouldn't think so.
Right, so
but maybe they would. I don't know.
They would not.
So
there's no way. There's no way. And again, like this is a conversation just purely about the fact that Wick is the best owner we've got, and it's very sad to see him go. I don't think that Wick was being 100% truthful at the end of the season. I really think that this must have been a family decision. He makes it clear when talking to Dan Shaughnessy, where we are a family. So yes, while Wick maybe owns only 2%, and the dad owns however much, it's a conversation that they all came to together. I don't think Wick is being forced to do anything.
Well, if you only own 2%, you are.
How much is Shime's guy Pags worth?
He has 8% of the team. How much is he worth?
Yes.
I don't know.
But he and Wick together could get their friends to go then buy it. So if that's the hope for me.
It's easier said than done. I mean, it requires a lot of effort.
Yeah, I agree. But if your dad's the seller,
yes.
Does it require as much as
I think
you going to try to buy the Celtics?
No, I think you're minimizing how hard it is to put together a group. In putting that group together, you don't have the money, so you're not going to have control anyway. Like, it's going to be a completely different scenario going forward.
Right, because see, if Wick only owned 2% or his share was only 2%, but the dad owned the majority of the team, and the dad was like, well, you're running it, you're the face of it, you're in essence the owner of it. Like Wick's like, okay, I control that. Now, if Shime's boy, him and we know his boy Pags, if Pags goes, okay, Wick, I'm now going to become the majority owner. Why? Then it becomes Pags' team. And Wick is just,
But the two of them have sort of been managing partners together.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why the statement says Wick will be involved at least until 2028, because maybe the two of them will go forward from a managing partner perspective, unless somebody like Larry Ellison buys it, and I'm sure Larry Ellison is going to want to run the whole thing.
That is the only way that I will be happy with this moving forward, because I think Wick actually does a great job every time he's on this show. Whenever you bring up the fact that he is an owner, he always brings everybody else in. He never wants to take the credit fully. He wants it to be a shared venture. So hopefully that's the case.
But we still know it as Wick's team.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, because he's been the guy out front.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, everybody wants to be, when you own something, you're the majority owner, you understand that, all right, I share with others, but there has to be one person out front where the rest of the people that look and don't know go, oh, that's his team.
Right.
And so I can't see how, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I can't see how Pags becomes majority owner and doesn't want to necessarily be front out and be the guy that's making the decisions and, day to day or something like that.
If he is the majority owner moving forward, will Shime be the one to get him to come on the show since they're buds?
Yes.
I would hope so.
I think so.
We are good pals. But
he's on a nickname basis with him. As
me
and
Pags are boys.
As he alluded to earlier.
But it also makes sense, too. Like, if the Celtics want to stay in the Garden, there's an existing relationship between Pags and the Jacobs already. Like, it just allows them to kind of keep everything status quo.
But no owner wants to do that. I don't even think Pags wants to do that.
No.
And I think even Wick's dad, I wonder if they own their own building, would they still be estate planning to
might be different if they didn't have a landlord.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my apologies to Wick Grousbeck and
Curtis will be here tomorrow to offer his apology.
Yes.
Yeah.